You are listening to the Christian Coaching School podcast with Dr. Leelo Bush, Episode 2.
Welcome to the Christian Coaching School podcast, your one-stop resource for continuing education as well as personal and professional growth. And now, here's your host, the author and creator of Spirit-Led Christian Life Coaching, Dr. Leelo Bush.
Welcome back. I'm Dr. Leelo Bush, your host for the Christian Coaching School podcast. We have quickly gained listeners from around the globe, and today I want to give a special shout out to Baltimore, Maryland, and Creve Coeur, Missouri. So how are you today? Are you making the kind of progress you like? This week, I feel as though I have not been as productive as I would like to be because we have been upgrading our computers. I added a new iPad Pro, and it works great. Not much of a learning curve if you already use an iPad. I know quite a few of our students do their courses on iPads and tablets, and other than the need to print certain parts of their module documents, the iPad is a great way to consume your training. It makes your learning so much more portable. In addition to this, I'm also in the process, and I mean process, of moving to a new desktop computer. Now this is a bit more complicated because we have to add the programs and then install all of the backed up files from Carbonite. So right now, as I look at my screen, it predicts that it will be about another 43 hours before all of my files are moved over. But I must tell you, if you don't have a good way to save everything on your computer, I highly recommend Carbonite. And this basically is a system that saves all of your files in the cloud. So no more lost files if your computer crashes. Everything is saved behind the scenes as you are working, and it's easily recoverable. It has saved me many times. And now you can try it for free and even get 2 months free if you order it by visiting carbonite.com/Kim, K-I-M. Now, I don't get a commission from sharing this link, but I just don't want you to end up losing files like I have in case the worst case scenario happens. And, as in my case, if you get a new computer, this is an easy way to transfer all your files. Now, this is actually a coupon link from Kim Commando, who has a regular weekly radio show about everything digital. And I mean everything. She broadcasts on the Westar Network out of Phoenix, Arizona, and if you want to listen in your area, be sure to visit her website at commando.com for station listings. That's KOMANDO.com. And yes, Kim, this is a plug for your show, but you are so deserving, my friend. Don't worry about these links for now, folks. I will be sure to put them in my show notes for you. So let's move on to today's trivia question. This is where I ask you a trivia question about what we do here and then give you an answer later on in the show. So today's trivia question is, what is the newest specialty coach training program that we have at the Academy? And here's a clue. We just added the course this year, and it is ridiculously awesome. I encourage you to stay with me for the answer coming up. On today's podcast, we are talking about why coaches need coaching and 15 ways to identify the right coach. Here at the Academy, we invest a lot of time talking about how to become the best coach possible. Your prospective clients will be looking for the best coach for them. In order to become a coach who is often hired and receives rave reviews from your clients as well as lots of referrals, you need to demonstrate your skills as well as avoid certain behaviors that could unknowingly put up red flags. Picking the right coach is critical to ensure someone gets the results they want. But far too many people are unaware of how to identify the right coach. In today's post, I will give you 15 ways to identify whether someone may be the right or wrong coach for you. For many years, we have fondly embraced a humorous avatar of a well-meaning but inept life coach. We call her Martha Tuttle. Now, please believe me, if you know someone named Martha Tuttle, we are talking about a fictional persona here. This has nothing to do with any real person. But Martha personifies every quality that makes her ill-fit to provide the proper coaching to help someone achieve their goals. Martha has become, if anything, the iconic symbol for any lackluster coaching endeavor. Those of us who have been through coach training, either here at PCCCA or any other coaching school, will understand the importance of partnering with the right coach going forward after training. I used to think that the necessity of hiring a coach after training was an option, but I have now learned over time that it is an actual necessity. There are many compelling reasons for hiring a coach. So, why do coaches need coaching, you may be thinking? Well, coaches are typically very self-aware, and you might think that for that reason that coaches don't need coaching. But this self-awareness is really a result of doing a lot of their internal work so that they can be present for their clients. Over time, coaches actually become pretty good at recognizing their own challenges. And since they are already self-aware, it can sometimes become second nature. But sometimes even great coaches get stuck. And sometimes these coaches have no idea why they are stuck. They have done every exercise, they have prayed, and used every technique they can think of, and yet they still can't identify their own block. This is a perfect instance in which coaches need coaching. Sometimes we all need an outside perspective that we can only get from hiring another coach. Another instance in which coaches need coaches is when they are too emotionally involved in their current situation. Coaches are human, just like everyone else, and sometimes emotions can cloud us from seeing the answers that are right in front of us. And this is true for business as well as personal matters. In this situation, it would be beneficial for a coach to hire another coach. Again, sometimes the outside perspective is exactly what we need in order to move forward. Sometimes coaches need guidance from someone who has no emotional involvement in the situation at all. Since another coach would have no emotions at stake, they can help you look at things in another way. Coaches may also need to find specific coaches depending on their current level of achievement and where they still might want to go. For example, a business owner who is already earning 6 figures in revenue may need to find another coach when they want to increase their revenue to $1 million. And in this case, it's not just a matter of working more or working harder. When coaches want to move to a new level, it is not unusual for the same old mindset challenges or entirely new issues they didn't even know existed to reveal themselves. They may also have no idea what steps to take because they've never done it before. In these cases, it would make perfect sense for coaches to hire coaches. As for me, Up-leveling is a time when I have hired coaches myself, and if you're just starting out, you will need a coach. In my view, it is essential for brand new coaches to work with a mentor coach for 6 to 12 months at least if they want to ensure the success of their vision, be it a coaching business or ministry. You may have heard it said before that what got you here will not get you there. And it's so true. What you have done that got you to where you are right now is not sufficient to take you to the next level. This is why it's important to partner with someone who is ahead of you who can show you the ropes. And I think it's fair to say that the more you achieve, the easier future steps become. It may not mean working harder at the top levels. It may be a matter of working smarter. And let's face it, you can only personally hustle so many hours a day before you run out of time or energy. But with the right tactics, you should be able to work less and experience more progress. So in other words, success becomes easier for you as time goes on. Hopefully, you see the value in bringing a coach into your life who can support you in the best possible ways. However, some people who you might think would be a great coach for you are not. And the reasons are not always obvious. In fact, some of the reasons may not even occur to you until you hear them. Having trained thousands of students from around the globe, I can assure you that if you fail to heed the signs I am going to mention, you may sacrifice your own success in the process. Now, you are the only one who can decide if it is worth it. As you hear these, consider how each one could affect your outcome. So here are the 15 ways to identify the right and wrong coach. Number 1, a coach who claims to know everything about what is right and wrong for you, and then dominates the coaching conversations, prescribing exactly what you must or must not do. And here's a clue. They won't ask you many, if any, questions. See, in a true coaching relationship, it needs to be a partnership. And you, as the client, need to be the one speaking most of the time and processing through your options and coming up with your best solutions. Now, there may be areas that you are not familiar with, and a coach will help you explore them. But other than that, it needs to be about you. Number 2, a coach who fears that when you grow personally or professionally, your relationship will change. Now, this can occur in a number of different ways. This could be a coach who is barely familiar with what you want to accomplish. So they know that if you expand a little bit more, they will be completely unable to relate or to work with you, and they will fear losing you as their client. Or it could be someone who you already have a relationship with, who fears that when you grow, that your relationship will change. It will no longer be what it is right now. A lot of people fear change. Another sign that you need to look for is whether the coach fears that your growth will remind them of their own lack of growth. Now, you may not really know this is going on, but you can look for some signs because they're not going to tell you that they're afraid of your growth. But if you're meeting in person, you can tell that by their expression sometimes. You can sometimes tell by the way they respond to you. So that's just something for you to be alert for. Also, number 4, a wrong coach for you may be someone who doesn't have any sort of coach training, because they will not understand the coaching process to be able to help you that way. They may be a good listener, but a coach is more than a listener. And as a trained coach, you will know that. You will have a standard by which to measure that. Could be, number 5, that they don't have Christian coach training. And now I'm not saying that all Christian coach training is the same, but if you have Christian coach training, hopefully it will be biblical in nature, where the standards that are set are those that you find in Scripture. Someone who does not have this training, they may try to help, but they won't understand the intricacies or the benefits of a Christ-centered coaching relationship. Because we believe that the Holy Spirit needs to be involved in the coaching relationship and needs to lead the sessions, lead the client, and provide wisdom to both the client and the coach. So this is really an important factor. Number 6, you need to beware of a coach who could be secretly jealous of you and what you have accomplished. That again would be someone who is not on your level. If they have not been trained, if they are not familiar with your circumstances, and they see that you are moving forward, sometimes you come upon issues of jealousy. So that is something that you need to be aware of. So your selection of coach should be someone who is significantly ahead of you, so that you remove any chance of that being a concern. Another thing that you should look for, number 7, is be cautious of someone who has not been reliable to coach or support you thus far. And this really begs the question, why should they be deemed reliable now? Another thing for you to be careful of as you select your coach. Pick someone who you know has been reliable, or someone that you have been referred to who has been highly reliable for others. Number 8, make sure that the coach has an agenda that is in line with yours. If they have a different agenda, spoken or unspoken, the coaching relationship might not be a beneficial one. And one of the reasons is, for instance, if you have a relationship with someone, they may not necessarily see that what you want to accomplish is in their best interest. And that should never be a concern with a coach. But if it is a personal relationship that has been previously established, you really won't know that. Number 9, make sure that your coach understands and accepts God's will for your life. If this is not the case, the coach could unknowingly or even deliberately support you to do or say something that is not in line with God's will when it's convenient. Number 10, make sure they are a mature believer. If not, they won't know how to manage the coaching relationship, God's role in it, or support you in faith matters. Number 11. This is kind of a complex one, but I'll try and describe it. This is a coach who wants to deliver support that keeps you happy with them and is unwilling to bring up something that's touchy, unpleasant, or divisive in order to help you change. These coaches are more concerned with being nice and maintaining your relationship rather than creating the supportive coaching environment you may need. And in order to have a good coaching relationship, it's more than just that nice, comfortable feeling. Sometimes coaches need to challenge you. Sometimes they need to bring up something unpleasant if they observe it in order to help you grow. So you need to make sure that the person you work with is unafraid to challenge you. Number 12 is make sure that your coach has equally or more dominant personality than you do. Because if a coach has a less dominant personality than you, they won't challenge you or be able to sufficiently hold you accountable. And accountability is a big part of coaching. This kind of goes right along with number 13, a coach who serves as a yes person. You don't want a coach who agrees with everything you say, because they will never stretch you, nor challenge you or make you think. A coach needs to inquire from you. They need to seek deeper understanding of what you are saying and why you are saying it. And they need to challenge you. If someone agrees with everything, they're not going to challenge you enough to help you move forward or think differently. Here's one, number 14. I encourage you to hire a coach who doesn't know your past. And the reason is that whether your past is good or if there's any bad in it, that knowledge will almost make it impossible for a coach to be objective with what is possible for you. Because, if you're working with someone you know and they have a track record of not succeeding, that is going to color your view of what could be possible for them in the future, to where you just don't challenge them enough. Or if you think that someone has been really, really successful, you may push them harder than what they need to be challenged at certain times. So it's better not to know that, I think, and for that to develop in time as you're working together. Just remember, if someone knows you really well, they may feel that your responses or your actions will be predictable, and that could skew the way that they work with you. And number 15, this is kind of counterintuitive, but nevertheless it's really important. You don't want as a coach someone who idolizes, worships, or greatly admires you. And the reason is that they either won't be able to identify flaws in your statements and arguments, or they will be afraid to challenge you because they are in some way intimidated by you. You may want to listen to these again when you're in a position to make notes, because these are really things that you need to look out for so that you can hire the best coach for you. For the most part, prospective coaches who fit the above criteria are people who are close to you. They may be friends or members of your church. They could be family members, spouses, or co-workers. Sometimes even untrained church-appointed people or staff. And one of the reasons that I am creating this topic in a podcast is because I regularly see students insist that they want people close to them to coach them after their training because it's free versus paying someone. If you have someone coaching you who has not even been trained as a coach, how can you expect them to move you forward? Because they need to understand that coaching process, and their point of view can't be clouded by any of the issues that we just talked about here. And yes, absolutely, it's possible to figure it out alone, but it could take you years. Most people won't stick with their plan long enough to see it through. And meanwhile, those who need you aren't being coached, and you could be going broke trying to figure it out. What's more, getting coaching from the wrong person can be worse than no coaching at all, or even fatal to your goal, because it will make you doubt your own ability to deliver results. You need to look at hiring a coach not as an expense, but as an investment. The vision God has given you will only come to pass if you show God that you are willing to make smart choices. Some coaches are so accustomed to thinking about others that they have trouble feeling worthy of making such an investment. So listen to me here. This is not about you. It is about doing everything humanly possible to achieve God's plan and mission for you. Remember, it is our job to do what we can do, and God's job to do what we can't do. So if you are serious about results, hire a professional. The return on your investment will be immeasurable. Hire someone who has already gone before you, not someone who will try to figure it out as you go along. I often get requests for private coaching, and unfortunately, I don't have any openings at this time. But if you want to get on a waiting list, just email the Academy at admin@pccca.org for details. Put Coaching with Dr. Bush in the subject line. As I promised, I now have the answer to the trivia question for you. To the question, what is our newest specialty coaching course at the Academy? And that is the Mosaic Family Coaching Program. I will post a link to the course so that you can discover if it is a fit for you. I highly recommend it for 2 reasons. 1, because almost all your clients need you to have this expertise. And 2, because I personally know and have worked with the creator, Master Coach Debbie Stankovich, and it is a real quality program that will change your life as you learn to change the lives of others. Coming up, I will have Debbie join me here on this podcast, and I promise you will come to love her as much as I do. That's it for today, and I encourage you to join me again next time for the Christian Coaching School podcast. Would you like to make better decisions or help your clients do so? Right now, I have a free decision-making template for you. It will help you discover your pros and cons, as well as rate their importance to make the best decision possible. Plus, I have added some free Christian coach training too, and you can get it all at pccca.org/tools. I hope you found this episode of the Christian Coaching School podcast helpful. If so, please share this podcast with someone you care about. Spirit-led Christian life coaching truly is the most powerful coaching available to mankind, and I am incredibly blessed to share my knowledge with you. I also want to hear from you with feedback and ideas for this podcast. Just write me from the contact page at the Academy website at pccca.org. This has been the Christian Coaching School podcast, and I'm your host, Dr. Leelo Bush. Now go make this your best day yet, and remember to thank the one who makes it all possible.